In this week's episode of One Piece, Cavendish fights against his evil alternate self Hakuba, Bartolomeo has an all-out brawl with the explosive and poisonous Gladius, and Nico Robin finally arrives at the sunflower field so that she can protect Rebecca against the murderous Diamante. This week's episode of One Piece has a ton of memorable moments, which I honestly believe are going to go down in One Piece history. This was one of the most distinct battle episodes of the entire Dressrosa arc, where there was always a ton of really cool things going on. Gladius puffing himself up like a giant inflatable hedgehog, Bartolomeo performing this barrier punch, where he hits Gladius so hard that he buries his face into the rubble, Cavendish, who's fighting for control of his body, where one half is actually cabbage, and the other one is the evil Hakuba. And let's not forget Nico Robin. Cool, calm, collected, sexy, badass, one of the most memorable characters from the series, who makes an incredible entrance at the very end of this week's episode when she appears to help out Rebecca. This was a classic episode right here, and that's just a few of the key moments, but the real star of this week's episode, without a doubt, is Bartolomeo. He goes out like a boss in this week's episode. And when I say go out, I'm not saying that he's been killed, but I think that his battles in Dressrosa are officially over, because he managed to save the day. And this is because Gladius was getting ready to destroy everything around him. He was puffing up his body. We also learned that his hair is actually made out of poison needles, so that when he actually does explode, they're just going to go all over the place and just cover Nico Robin, Cavendish, and Bartolomeo from head to toe. Not only that, but the actual plateau, the frickin' rock wall that Nico Robin and Cavendish are on, is set to explode as well. So this is when Bartolomeo decides to make a sacrificial move to save the beautiful Nico Robin. He creates a barrier sphere which traps both him and Gladius inside, and Gladius explodes, sending his poison needles all over the place. And yet, even after all of that, he's reminded by all of the amazing things that Luffy has accomplished on his journey, and that gives him the strength to do one more amazing punch. An homage holy fist, if you will. It's definitely just like Luffy's attacks, and it hits really damn hard, which ends Gladius, and it also is the end for Bartolomeo in the Dressrosa arc. That was a really satisfying moment. Cavendish in this week's episode also got to help out Nico Robin. When half of his body was Hakuba, he was able to sort of slightly control those abilities, which allowed them to run all the way up to the top of this giant mountain so that she could get to the flower fields. And after that, he just sort of gets exhausted and passed out. So that's pretty much the end of Cavendish as well. What I will say is this was a very fun and satisfying end to this fight right here, and seeing Nico Robin show up at the end all cool and confident is just so awesome and goosebumps inducing. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? It was just an awesome showcase of some of the greatest characters from the series. Nico Robin is always a lot of fun to watch, and I always just love how she barely has to say anything, but she's so just damn cool, every single thing she does, and just her entrance at the very end of that episode, just the way they animated her hands blocking all of the different sword attacks from Diamante. She's clearly going to be very helpful in this battle. And I've said it before, the setting of that battle is really unique, just being set in those flower fields. It makes it one of the most distinctive fights that I've seen from the entire series. Cavendish was really cool and creepy this week, especially the scenes where half of his face was actually Hakuba. That looked really damn disturbing. But Bartolomeo, I mean, he's the star this week. You can't just not love Bartolomeo. He's such a funny character. He's so infectiously ridiculous, and he adores the Straw Hat Pirates. And he does that in this week's episode when he goes above and beyond to save Nico Robin in a big sacrificial move, and ending it with one badass punch. That's pretty freaking manly right there. It also helped that this week's episode had some pretty good animation and artwork, so it just had a lot of great atmosphere behind it. This was a solid episode. I actually really liked it a lot. It wasn't a perfect episode, like the animation and artwork obviously could have looked better, the pacing could have been slightly better, but everything that was here to me was really entertaining, and it was just a great showcase of these characters. Like, these are their moments, and we really need to enjoy them, because things are just going to get crazier from here. So, that's the way I felt about this week's episode, but I want to hear from you guys. Did you watch this week's episode of One Piece? What did you think of Bartolomeo's crowning achievement? What did you think of Gladius, Cavendish, and Nico Robin showing up at the end? And what do you want to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc and One Piece? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. I'm reviewing a lot of the new fall anime for 2015, so make sure to check out the channel and look at all the playlists. There's a ton of shows to talk about. Not to mention we have a few other little surprises and projects that we're working on. We're always very busy here at Super Kamiguru 9000. The best damn anime reviewing site on YouTube, you better know it. So thank you guys again for watching, we really appreciate your viewership. And remember guys, as always, stay dandy, baby!